Hello and welcome to another Poetry Deep Dive today. I love Denis Martindale. He has written over 3,700 poems for the Poemhunter website. Denis Martindale has written a new poem titled My Doggie Gets So Excited, and here's what the poem's message shares with us today.
3,700. That number is just staggering, right? It represents the sheer volume of poems Denis has published on the Poemhunter platform. He is an incredibly prolific writer who just has this knack for capturing the magic of everyday moments. And today, we're unpacking a piece that's as charming as it is relatable, especially if you have a furry friend running around the house. This specific piece focuses on a dog named Spot, a pup completely full of wonder who, as the source text notes, is basically as nutty as Supergirl's doggie Krypto from the Superman and Supergirl films. The poem really explores the fascinating way our pets interact with the everyday technology that we humans just take totally for granted.
Section 1. The Digital Awakening. Booting up with Spot.
So, to set the scene for us, the poem explores the initial magic of a computer booting up, but it's told entirely from the perspective of an innocent pet. Imagine seeing a machine come to life for the very first time, without any concept of circuits, code, or software. Let's look at these opening lines together. My doggie gets so excited when I turn my PC on, the startup screen's delighted until they all had gone. I just absolutely love this phrasing. It immediately establishes Spot's complete and utter delight at a simple visual that we usually just ignore. Think about it. For us, a startup screen is just a boring waiting period. But for Spot, it's this dynamic, bright light show that magically appears and then vanishes into thin air. And this brilliantly maps out the sequence of events right through Spot's eyes. First, the PC turns on in a matter of seconds. Then, those colorful startup screens disappear just as quickly. Finally, we get to the glowing internet box, the router. The poem specifically points out the shift in colors, from green to orange lights on that router. For a dog, this glowing sequence isn't some tedious boot-up process you have to sit through. It's a sequence of literal magical events unfolding right there in the living room.
The absolute heart of this moment is captured in this realization. The doggie knew not how. This glowing internet box is a total mystery to Spot. It perfectly represents the boundary between our mundane human technology and pure, unfiltered animal wonder. While the owner is just impatiently waiting for a Wi-Fi connection, Spot is witnessing something beautifully unexplainable.
Section 2. Mystified by the Mouse. Beyond his ken. Okay, so here the poem transitions to the owner actively interacting with this newly awakened digital world, while the dog just eagerly watches. Martindale writes, I clicked the mouse beyond his ken, as Spot stared mystified, and checked my emails once again as he watched by my side. It's such a beautifully understated image, isn't it? The owner is sitting there performing literally the most mundane task imaginable, checking emails, while the dog sits right by their side, absolutely in awe of the entire process. I really want to pause on a specific word from that stanza for a second. Ken. Ken means one's range of knowledge or sight, one's understanding. Using it here playfully emphasizes just how incomprehensible the simple act of clicking a computer mouse is to Spot. The physical click of a piece of plastic causing something to move or open on a glowing screen across the desk, it is entirely beyond his ken. To him, it's just sheer magic.
Section 3. Spot's YouTube discoveries. A digital miracle.
All right, the internet is connected, the emails are checked, and now the owner pulls up some YouTube clips. And this is where the true entertainment begins for Spot. Then, just for fun, some YouTube clips, cute horses, dogs and cats. Then I observe how Spot's jaw slips as they get into spats. Just picture that, humorous, completely relatable image. The owner puts on home movie clips of animals, and Spot gets so intensely invested that his jaw literally drops. His jaw slips as he watches the digital animals fighting or playing on screen. Let's break down Spot's specific reactions to the screen here, because Martindale details them so perfectly. First, he barks at the creatures whether they're moving fast or slow. Second, he's completely fascinated by their small size, perhaps trying to figure out how these tiny little animals got trapped inside this glowing box. And finally, as the source text highlights, some dogs view their owners as miracle workers. Spot treats these tiny, moving creatures not as digital pixels on a monitor, but as a literal miracle conjured up by his human out of thin air.
Notice the fascinating contrast we have going on here. On one side, we see Spot's physical, animal instincts completely taking over as he sniffs the monitor, trying to engage with the digital animals the only way he knows how. He even climbs downward, maybe trying to look behind the screen to find where they're hiding. On the other side, we have the digital reality. There is absolutely no smell, and the sounds are completely disembodied.
It's this incredible clash between a dog's rich sensory world and our sterile digital one. And when those disembodied sounds actually kick in, well, the poem uses a fantastic word for his reaction. Flummoxed, meaning completely baffled, confused, or perplexed. It hits the nail on the head when describing Martindale's depiction of Spot's utter confusion. Imagine hearing a dog bark, looking right at the tiny dog on the screen doing it, but catching 0 scent. Flummoxed is exactly the right word for that very weird feeling.
Section 4. Man's Best Digital Friend. Shared Screen Time.
Beyond the mystery and the confusion, the poem ultimately focuses on the really heartwarming shared bond between the owner and Spot over these videos. I look at him, he looks at me. As soon as each clip ends, he wags his tail with wondrous glee when doggies make new friends. Notice that sweet shared glance between the owner and pet after a video finishes? It's just a beautiful moment of connection, not just between the digital dogs on the screen, but between the human and their real-life best friend sitting right beside them. I love the phrase wondrous glee here because it really captures how incredibly pure Spot's reaction is. He isn't cynical about the screen. He absolutely doesn't care about screen resolution or buffering speeds. He just wags his tail with absolute joy, simply from seeing other dogs make friends on a monitor. It's a wonderful testament to the deep empathy and joy that's just inherent in our pets.
And that brings us to the concluding lines from this poem, which happens to be dated the 27th of May, 2026. The internet's beyond compare. Yes, ask my best friend Spot. He's quite content to sit and stare at each clip YouTube's got. It perfectly sums up Spot's ultimate contentment with the digital world. The internet isn't just a utility for the owner anymore, you know? It's become a shared entertainment center for both of them to enjoy together.
Which leaves us with a really fun, thought-provoking question. Do our pets secretly view our everyday technology as modern miracles? Seriously, the next time you turn on your PC, check your email, or pull up a YouTube clip, take a moment to look over at your furry friend. You might just catch them staring, utterly flummoxed, at your glowing magic box. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking for the wonder in the everyday.